Hello and welcome to another episode of Lucky These Stories. Today I would like to introduce this amazing young man who have traveled from India for his medicine. And he has a very inspiring and interesting story. He had lived in China, he has traveled across the globe, but eventually he found his home, or at least a home where he could start his future for the upcoming life, and that is Gagan Talwar. And he's he's he recently graduated and became a doctor, and he is going to practice. And in this episode, we will try to learn about his journey. A, how he decided to come to United States. B, how he made his journey interesting, and how he was able to finish his medical and get his medical degree and able to get his practice up and running in 2 years of time spent when he came to United States. So welcome to our episode, Lucky the Story.
Thank you so much, Lucky Baji, for inviting me, and it's a pleasure to be here on the podcast. You've already told about my life story, but I would like to add that I recently got my MD over here, and I will start practicing after some time, like maybe 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's been quite a journey, and um, I came here for the masters, like any other masters international student. Left my family behind. Had all these doubts in my mind, but I came here, took the risk, and I'm so glad this country has given me an opportunity to be a doctor over here.
You know, so Gagan, I wanna let the viewers listen to our connection, how we made our connection. So I remember 2 years ago in Norwalk Gurdwara, after Langar, I saw you. You were sitting, and you were a little stressed. Very well remember that
Yeah.
time. You were wearing a check shirt,
Yes.
if I'm
Yes.
not mistaken.
Yes.
And in that time, when I saw you and I came to you and I said, I haven't seen you in Gurdwara before. You said you just came, and you were stressed out. You were not sure about what this life is going to be in
Yeah.
America. And I told one thing: don't worry, you're not the only one. We all went through this. I have a very amazing story to share. When I first came to United States, there was this guy. He's no longer in America. He moved to Canada. He brought me to Norwalk Gurdwara 2 days after I came to United, and he said, "Don't worry. You see everybody here. Everybody has some story to share, and everybody was as stressed as you are, including me. And the same message I gave it to you. And 2 years later, I got a call from you last week, and you said and I was touched when I heard that I was the second or third person that you call after your parents. That I got this degree, and I wanted to share with you. So I always tell everybody that when you look back, you can only connect the dots backward. You cannot connect the dots forward. So now when you look back and you have been able to make your life where it is today, but that 2 years journey was very difficult, for everybody, who's a student here, financially, emotionally, leaving your parents. Um, and I know this because I also came as a student. But, you know, I have always interacted with this too because I came from my MBA. So my background, students around are either computer science, MIS, MBAs, and so forth. But very seldomly I meet with the people and the students who are actually doing their medicine, right?
Yeah.
I do have friends now who are well established and doctors and so forth, and they have gone through their journey, but we never actually sat down other than just saying that, okay, they did MLE and all that stuff. What I really want to understand, and this may help to the viewers who are actually listening, and if for any reason, if this podcast goes to someone who's listening in India who's trying to find his way to come to United States, the medicine journey is not that easy. It takes a time, it's taken effort. Unlike masters to doing an MBA, it's
Yep.
like a 1 or 2 years and you're good to go.
Yep.
So was your journey like in India you were a doctor and then you came here and you did your extended master's degree and then you applied for, there is an exam that you have to go through, right? What I really want to understand from you, based on your experience and journey, would you say that somebody who's listening in India, would you say that you want them to study there and finish their MBBS, which is equivalent to what America offers to you as a doctor's practice? Or would you say that they can come here right after 12th grade and do their journey? Which one, in your experience, is more better in opportunistic wise, financially, and time wise?
So thank you for asking this question. I'm so glad we met at the Gurdwara. I still remember you telling me, Gagan, you are here now, and this is the land of milk and honey, and you're gonna make it. One day when you look back, you're gonna see your journey and you're gonna connect all the dots, as you said. Thank you. Um, yeah. So regarding the medicine, people who want to practice medicine in America, you have to be an MBBS to clear those exams. So
And
you
those exam is what?
those are called USMLEs. Those are United States Medical Licensing Examination. It's not only for the international medical graduates, it's also for people who study here. So you have to, regardless, you have to go through the exams.
So MLE is the
USMLE.
USMLE is that's a starting gate.
That's a starting gate to becoming a resident,
Okay.
to becoming an MD, to become a trainee, and then you go through 3 years of training, and then you become then you complete your residency, you become an ND. So you have to go regardless of where you're from. Like even the American grads have to go through it.
Okay.
So it doesn't make a difference. Yeah. So for people coming from any other countries, it's always very difficult because because it's not only emotionally taxing, because it's a very hard exam. It's a very difficult exam, and it's a 9-hour exam, and there are 4 steps you go through. So it's 9 hours for each day, and by the end of the day you're totally exhausted, and you study for that for like 6 months, 7 months, and you have to know ins and outs. It's not
And there
just
is no optional exam. It's not like an option, or you get an options that you pick, or you have to
you get an
literally
option,
write.
but those options all look the same. At least to me, they'll all look the same.
Okay.
So they're very close to each other, those options. And after 9 hours, you are, no matter how prepared you are, you do become very tired. You mentally, you're very tired. So these are not easy exams to clear. But at the same time, I feel people with a good, solid background, medical background in India, who have practiced, as in my case, I practiced in various rural towns and various rural cities, and I was able to do those exams very well. And yeah, so for people who are starting out from their countries, I think it's very important that they practice in their country, and then they take these exams, and then they come here. It's always very helpful. And
So can you take that exam while you are in your own country?
yes, we take it in our own country. So
MLE.
yeah, so there are 3 steps: USMLE step 1, step 2 CK, step 3.
Okay.
So step 3 is the exam that you take in the US. That's you can't take it anywhere else. It's only in the US, and it's
Okay.
a 2-day exam for 9 hours.
So you took that last one, or you took all
The last one.
the last one you
The
took?
last ones you took.
So if we do if I just want to go through the chain of an event.
Okay.
So let's say I graduated from
Mhm.
12th grade.
Okay.
You are saying that if I am interested in the line of medicine, first I should go and get into in your own home country, graduate within the medicine, practice there for a while, and then if you are interested in coming to the United States, then you come here, but before you come here, you take those 2 exams, MLE in India, and the third MLE, which is the
you
one
take it
that you
over
have
here.
to you come
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
But then in that process, you can't just come here and say, I want to take an exam. You have to enroll into any of the educations here. Like how if I want to come here and I finish my 2 MLEs, and if I'm coming to United States,
Mhm.
can I just apply for a visa that I want to get an MLE for my 3rd exam, or do I have to get into a course which will allow me a path to come here and then you take it?
So that's a very good question. So there are series of steps you go through. One is you can always come here and do your medical school too, but it takes a lot of it's very expensive. First of all, in being a doctor in the US and getting your medical degree. In India we have MBBS because we follow the UK system, but here there is no MBBS. Here you go into a medical school 4 years, and then you take your
MLEs.
exams, and then MLEs, and then you become a.
So it's a 4-year, and
It's
the
a
same
4-year
thing is in India too.
No,
4
India is 5.5 years.
Five
So
and
we
a half.
follow the UK system.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's how. So you take these exams regardless of where you are, and of course for people not over here, they have to apply for a visa. They go for the interviews, and sometimes even after doing those exams, you still get rejected for a visa. So see how
So you have your 2 MLEs cleared, and you
You
go
go
to the
for a-
visa, And you say
and
that I
sometimes
want to
they reject
enroll
you.
into this.
No,
And
you apply for a tourist visa for your, so you need to have something like US clinical experience.
okay.
Without that, your application is no good,
No. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you have to have some US clinical experience, because the American healthcare system is very different from our countries. We don't have electronic health records. We don't have a lot of things we see over here. We're still not, you know,
Not digitalized.
yeah, and yeah, not digitalized. A lot of technology that we don't see in our country. So we need to see that once, we need to see how the interaction between a patient and a physician should be. So we need to learn all this. Obviously, there are some cultural factors you need to be sensitized to, because in India, maybe you don't talk to a patient the same way you talk in America. So you need to learn all that, and for that they recommend that you need to get US clinical experience. For that you apply a visa from India. But sometimes, even after going through all those steps, and it has happened to one of my friends, they got rejected. Going through the hard exams, investing so much, and still get rejected because some visa officer found some discrepancy or
Okay.
something. Maybe you didn't like your application or something. So that happens too. So once you get that visa, you come here, you do your clinical experiences in a hospital. Those are called rotations, externships. And once you do those externships, you can either take step 3, or you can apply for the residency programs. So there's a September is the season when you apply for those residency programs.
Okay.
So there's a list of nationwide programs, and you can put your application in there, your CV, your personal statement. So journey doesn't stop at finishing those exams.
The
Even
journey
after-
actually begins
it begins
after.
after this. So you actually apply. If they like your CV, they invite you, they interview you. So let's say for 2,000 candidates, they have to choose 8 categorical positions.
But I find very surprising to what you just said, because on the other hand, when I look at the stats, the US governments or United States actually they don't have enough doctors. So why they make this so difficult in the process when they know that they need so many doctors in this country?
Well, there is definitely a shortage of the field that I choose, family medicine. Definitely, we need a lot of family physicians in the US, everywhere in the world. I guess even in India. But the thing is, there are not many residency programs, and there are not many positions. So these residency programs, they require federal funding, and there are not many positions available compared to the candidates who are applying. So let's say the program next to mine in Bridgeport has 12 positions in internal
Okay.
medicine, but the candidates who will be applying to the program are probably 4,000, because they're applying from all over the world, and they have to choose, they have to filter out the applications, and they choose out of those 4,000, they will choose 12 people. And
Is
they
the
go through,
preference first they filter it through the
Obviously,
people who are applying from United States?
yeah, of course, American medical graduates,
Okay.
because they've been, and it's okay, because it's their country,
Of course.
first of all,
Of
and
course.
it's also they have been in the system for very long. They've been trained over
100%.
here.
Yeah.
Obviously, they'll
I
go
would not think
yeah, I
anything
would not
otherwise.
think, I would think in India too, if you had,
I mean, that's very
yeah,
obvious.
yeah.
So
Then you're competing for a very small number of spots with the other international medical graduates, and they're not from India. They're from Egypt. They could be from China. They could be from Malaysia. They could be from anywhere in the world. Japan,
wow.
Russia.
So there is and I have only heard through the grapevines, and I have also heard in a lot of gatherings when I meet with my friends, and quite a few of my friends are in doctor
Okay.
field or a medicine field. And they always say that, oh, it's so hard to go through the process of becoming a doctor in the United States, right?
Absolutely.
But then the reason why I wanted you to be on this podcast, of course, I mean, I know you and I know your story, but what inspired me about your story was that what I have heard about through in the last 25 years living in this country, that, oh, medicine is so difficult, it takes forever to get to where you want to be. In your case, in 2 years, you were actually able to become and clear all that MLEs. You actually got a job. If I'm not mistaken, you got a job, right?
Oh,
You got-
well, residency is a job.
yeah, of course, yeah.
But
You
it's
got a
it's a training.
residency.
It's a
Yeah, it's a
for 3
training.
years.
It's a residency.
Yeah,
But that's
yeah.
everybody has to go through,
Everybody
regardless
has to
of
go.
if you are an immigrant or if
Yeah,
you're born
yeah.
here. It's
Doesn't
the
matter.
same thing. That's the
Everyone
channel
goes
you
through
go
the same thing.
So,
Yep.
so you became a doctor. You got a degree, 2 years. Now you have a residence in Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama.
Alabama, right?
That's it.
I have a very interesting question to ask you there.
Yeah.
You are from East Coast, living close to New York. The opportunities are more. Why Alabama?
Well, one thing, I did get interviews from East Coast, but when I went to Alabama, I really liked the program. So it's the program is really good, and sometimes you have to factor in not just the state. There are definitely more opportunities over here, in
East
East
Coast.
Coast. But Alabama, the program that I went to, I chose the program because it has a lot of inpatient medicine, and that's where my goal was. I wanted to be a hospitalist later on, and
So what is inpatient?
inpatient is the people who get admitted in the hospital. So
Okay.
critical care and all that,
Okay.
managing the ICU. So
Okay.
yeah, so I wanted to be in that. And some programs have very outpatient, which is basically the clinic is outside and you just see regular everyday patient comes to your clinic, and then you see them. But inpatient is when they're admitted in the hospital. So my program was more inclined towards inpatient, and I wanted that in a program, and it's a very good program.
Okay.
And that really, I went there to Montgomery, Alabama. It's a very small, going from Northeast to Alabama, it felt like
I
going back in time.
I
But
mean
I
I remember I have my cousin actually in 2006 she came for her University of Alabama, and I dropped her and I was there, so I know exactly what is a life in Alabama.
Yep.
I'm sure over the period it has become a little more advanced
Yep.
compared to what it was in 2006. But when you told me that you're going to Alabama, the one thing came to my mind, because there is also, and correct me if I'm wrong, there is a thought process where the United States think that there are pockets of America where there is a lot of lack of medicine doctors there. So they make the path for an immigrant, if you stay in that area for 3 years or 4 years, they give you a path to the green card a little faster compared to other place. Is that a true statement?
Well, I'm not aware of that. I haven't looked into it.
Okay.
But yeah. So the reason why I chose Alabama was also because family medicine is a very primary physicians type of field, because you actually are working with a rural population, and that's where I was interested too. And
Okay.
that's why I chose Alabama. Then the second thing is, I have been a traveler all my life. I've lived in China for 6 years. I did my medical education over there.
So wait, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
When you say you did medicine in China,
Yes.
not in India.
Not in India, yes.
So you went to China, you've studied there,
Yep.
and
I studied the traditional Chinese medicine, and I studied the Western medicine
so
over
you
there.
can speak Chinese too?
I can speak Chinese, yes. I
Like
can,
not fluently, but to the point where you can.
I can. There was once upon a time I used to. Long time
Wow.
back, I would speak Chinese. I could read it, but it's been quite a long time. But
Huh.
whenever I meet a Chinese person, I can have a good conversation with them in
Conversation,
Chinese.
huh?
Yeah. So there are two types of Chinese. There is Cantonese and Mandarin. I speak Mandarin Chinese, which
Mandarin.
is more towards the north,
Okay.
northern part of China. So coming back to the Alabama part, I've traveled all my life, and for me, going from northeast to Alabama, it just felt okay. There's another state, I want to see more of it. I've heard a lot about the southern hospitality. You've been here longer. I think you would know more about southern hospitality, and so I wanted to experience that too, and I want to spend some time away from the northeast too. That's so for me, it's a very I don't stress over it. I'm like, okay, let's go there.
So
New state.
But
New people.
that find very fascinating. So China,
Yeah,
you finished your education, then you come back to
India.
India.
Then I got a
You didn't
license
want
over
to
there.
pursue your future and practice in China?
I actually did practice over there for 1 year.
You did.
Yeah. So this was back when there was another president, Hu Jintao. So they became a little strict after that, and I wanted to come back to India too, to my
So
parents.
immigration is not that easy.
No,
No. So they don't give you the path to citizenship.
no, absolutely no.
So you just go, you study, and you come back.
Yeah.
So why do students? I have seen, I've also heard that a lot of kids from India,
hmm
they go to China for their medicine.
Yes.
Why is that?
One thing, it's cheaper, and secondly, they teach in English. Some of the universities are very good.
But is it also because, on a merit, if you cannot make it in India, you can go to China
You can
and
go to
get.
China and do it. Yes.
So China, they
So-
don't look at certain merits that you want.
No, actually, it depends on the university. So
Okay.
I took an exam for Chinese. I studied Chinese for 6 months, and they had a Chinese exam which is called HSK. And once you clear that, they give you some kind of scholarship. Only in certain universities. There
So
are
what is the
universities.
benefit if they're not giving a citizenship path and they want people to come, they're giving you scholarship, what is an advantage for Chinese government to create this program? And
I think it's just like one of their Belt and Road initiatives. They do.
oh,
It's like
I see.
CPAC. They're just giving away.
So a
They
lot
want
of
people to know.
Indians do go to China. I have somebody from our family
Yeah.
who have actually
Okay.
gone to China and
Uh,
did that education. But then you sorry
Back
to come
then.
back. Yeah, back then.
Back
Not
then.
now.
Not
yeah.
now. Not
Not
now.
now.
Yeah.
But then you come back. You practice in India for how long?
I practiced almost 8 years.
8 years.
8 years. Yeah.
And then you always wanted to come to United
I
States? Or
always wanted to. So, how they say your company is very important. It makes or breaks you. My company in China was all, and I am so glad I went to China, regardless of what the political climate. Back then, Xi Jinping wasn't the president, back then it was Hu Jintao and it was very open. China, I had a great experience. I taught as an English teacher in rural villages in China.
Love it.
I was one of the few Indians who was teaching English in a rural village in China. It was
Wow.
amazing experience. I think I have learned more from China than the rest of my life. I really matured as a person. I became very culturally sensitive.
Do you think
And
it's a Chinese culture, or it is because you left your home and you went to the different part?
that's one of the reasons. Not the Chinese culture. They were curious about me. I was curious about them. And you would be surprised. In my personal statement, when I was applying for the residency application over here for MD, I put in this. I put all the stories I went, like rural English. I was teaching as a rural teacher, English teacher, and they were so happy to hear that, because they want people with different experiences to come in. Everyone has the same stats. Everyone clears the exam. Everyone has the same. They want something different, and I think subconsciously they want people who are culturally sensitive. They want people who have traveled. They want people who have been to different parts, because America is a melting pot. So many cultures come here, and you want people who have experience and you are culturally sensitive to all the cultures, and they come here and practice. So I think subconsciously did help me.
Help. And then you
Yeah.
come back, 8 years practice, and
Yeah.
in back of mind, you always wanted to come to United States. And
I
then
always
you
wanted to be
started your MLE, those 2 exams that you
Yep.
cleared.
Yep.
And the third exams, you came here. But then you came here and
Yep.
we are actually doing this in a Sacred Heart University, and you
Oh, yeah, I
actually
did my
went
master's
to
here, yes.
you did your master's here.
I did a
So
master's
which
in medical
master's you came from?
I actually did my master's in medical informatics. So
Is that something helps you in the medicine field, or it is something to put a foot in the in America to get the third exams and then get through?
no. I already did the exams before coming here.
No, the
before coming
third
to master.
exam, one that you were saying that you can only do it in America.
I did it already. I came here before in a tourist visa. I did all the exams
Oh, you did
long
that.
before coming
So
here.
you had all your MLE cleared.
Yes, I was unsuccessful in the first attempt. I didn't
Okay.
get any residency. So
Okay.
I was like, I want to learn more about the healthcare system, because I've already cleared all the exams.
Oh.
So that's when I came for the master's in medical informatics. So glad I came to Sacred Heart University. It's a bizarre experience. I'm coming here after. I remember walking the streets as a student, and now I'm here talking to you. It is so good now. Wow.
Wow. So that is so inspiring that somebody like, someone who would have made an attempt
Mhm.
and gone through an MLEs, which is the hardest barrier,
Yeah.
and you cross that barrier, you apply for residency, you
I didn't
never
get
got, you didn't get it.
Yeah. A lot of people go unmatched every year.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I can show you stories. I would go on Reddit when I went unmatched. And this is really, and I'll tell you something, a lot of people were very supportive, because a lot of people go unmatched every year. Even the American medical graduates, by the way, they go unmatched. I remember when I went unmatched the first year, I went on Reddit to Went Out, and I saw a story over there, and it was a guy who went through all the journey, has lost his parents, has lost his family, and he was still went unmatched. And so I was really emotionally, and I was like, if he can, and he was still applying the next year. So I was like, if he can apply, why not me? Still have my family, I still have everyone who supports me.
So
Yeah.
this is very interesting that
Yeah.
you bring up. So you are saying that you passed your MLE. In the ideal scenario, you would get a residency and you would become able to practice for 3 years in that space of residency before you actually can start your own practice, right?
Mhm.
You struggled and you didn't get through that, so
Nope.
you never gave up.
Never
You
gave up.
said that I'm going to come here, I'm going
come
to
here,
do my education for 2 years so I can understand and acclimate to American society,
Absolutely.
the medicine,
Absolutely.
and then in this process you continue to apply.
And
And it happened, but that was not a guarantee. This would have
There was
not
no guarantee.
So even after 2 years, you would not have given a guarantee that you will make it.
There is no guarantee in match process. There is no guarantee. You could have the best scores. I remember there's a girl, I don't want to take the name, my friend, one of my friend from India. She's married over here, I remember. And then she has such great scores. She has a very polished CV, better than mine. She went unmatched this year, but she's going to still apply next year.
Apply.
Absolutely. You don't
Very
give up in this
interesting.
journey. Yeah. And I did masters in medical informatics. That's why I told you, I left my family behind. I came with doubt in my mind. There is no guarantee for anything. And I mean,
I mean, there is no
it
guarantee
goes for
for
life. Yeah.
life. For
Yeah. I mean,
anything.
you could wake up,
But-
tomorrow, who knows?
And then you purposely choose informatic because, as you were saying, that
Yeah.
you wanted to understand the healthcare
Healthcare
system
system,
within
yes.
United States.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now that you have done informatic, you have done 2 years, you landed into your dream thing that you wanted to do for last many years.
Yep.
If you have to look back, what was one of the struggles that you think in this 2 years that you experienced living here? Well, you know that you are a doctor, you are able to practice, at your age in India. I was recently visiting India, and the doctors theirs can open up their own clinic. They
Yep.
can do better, and if somehow they can make
Yeah,
their
yeah.
name, it's a very promising life.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gave that up. You came here
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Not easy.
Financially.
I'll tell you why. All my company in China, they were all American citizens who were one of my best friends. Two of my best friends are already physicians over here. One is in Arkansas, one is practicing in Minnesota. So
Americans went to China.
yeah, Americans. Yeah, American
Why
citizens.
would they? What was the
People
rationale?
people go to Caribbean countries too to study. From America, American people also go to American citizens who can't afford the medical college over here or exams. I don't know how the process is,
Wow.
But they go to Caribbean countries to study. They go to Russia to study. They go to China to study. They go everywhere.
I would think people come from. If you have an opportunity, you
It
would.
just goes back and forth. Yeah, people come from
Wow.
there. These people go there and finish their MBBS or their medical degree. And so one of the reasons why I came here is because two of my best friends, and they still are, they're like family to me. They really pushed me. They're like, Gagan, you don't give up. And obviously you have the support of family, but then these two people were already here. He's like, Gagan, you cleared all your exams. You should come here, get a good glimpse of how the American healthcare system is. You'll study electronic health records over here. It will give you a good idea about, and who knows, try.
And I remember, was it last year you called me and said that you got a Canadian residency?
Yeah. I
Remember?
became Canadian PR,
You
yes.
called,
Yeah.
and you called me, and you were in a dilemma. You were not sure, like, should you
Yeah.
consider moving there or you should be here?
Yeah.
My personal, which I shared with you, and I'm nobody to give any guidance to anybody because who am I? I don't know. I'm in a medicine field, but I did mention to you at that time that if I would be you, I would not leave America. And
My love for America is never going to change. I don't know why, but I have this love for this country. This is the country where you make it. You can come with $100 in your pocket, and you can see so many success stories over here, and you can still make it. People have made it, in this country, and
I met
it has
other
given
day-
them everything.
I met other day. So we went to this restaurant in New Haven.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy, I told him exactly out of the subject, but it's worthwhile sharing this.
Okay.
We went for a very good friend's birthday, and we went to a very fancy, nice Italian restaurant in New Haven.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at the guy behind the. There was also a bar,
Mm-hmm.
so I was looking at this guy, and the guy was looking at me, and I know that he wanted to talk to me. For some reason, we got a connect.
Okay.
After the dinner was over, I went to him. I said, and that was a very fancy Italian, like I
Was
said,
it olive and oil?
No,
Okay.
no.
There's one in New Haven. I know.
No, not that
Okay.
one. So the guy, he said, no. I said to him, are you Italian? He said, no, I'm Egyptian. I said, wait, what? I said, but you're serving the finest Italian food. He said, yeah, I'm Italian. And he said, the next door, he has another restaurant that's Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I said, okay, so what about Egypt? Like, where do you go for Egyptian food?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, no, I go actually next door. There is a Turkish restaurant. I go and eat there. I said, this is what America is. An Egyptian,
This is the beauty of this country.
the Egyptian,
Yes.
serving
Italian.
serving Italian,
Italian.
serving Mexican,
Yes,
and eating
yes.
a Turkish.
Yes.
And he's calling himself. He said he came in 80s, and he was 24. He said, I love this country. I said,
Love
he
this
said
country.
that this country has given me so much. But you
Absolutely.
know, the more I meet, the more I hear this.
Yes.
And now you're
Yes.
saying, and I have the same thing. I mean, it's not my point to bring up here, but I came with nothing. Well, but you know what? Over the period, my definition of saying nothing has changed.
Okay.
When I first came here,
Mm-hmm.
I always used to say, "Oh, I came with nothing. I
Mhm.
had nothing in my pocket."
Mhm.
You know, just like anyway, it's a cliche. Like every other immigrant would say that.
Mm-hmm.
But I still believe that what I came with was the most important thing of my life, my youth. I gave youth to this country.
Yes.
You see,
Yes.
that is the biggest thing than a money.
Yep. Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
So when we say ourselves that, oh, I came with nothing. No, you came with the youth. You came with the time. You only have 24 to 35 or 45 to make your way.
Yep.
And in this time of span, if you can make it, which this country has a way for you to give it back, maybe, and I'm not here to criticize any other country because every country has their plus and minuses. But this country obviously have so many stories to share that we can,
So
and
many
then you're
stories.
sharing, right?
Yep.
This is very inspiring.
So many people I've met who have come here who are they are doing pretty well now. You know, I met them in the most unimaginable places in Arkansas, and they were all immigrants, and they came here and they made their way. And but what I meant to say was what I meant to say by nothing was obviously you come with money, you have money in your account.
I mean,
it's
you
not,
come-
it's not you don't come with a lot of money. You know?
I mean, nowadays things are different.
Yeah.
When I
No,
came,
yeah.
or in 30 years ago, 25 years ago, life was different. I'll
Absolutely.
say why it was different.
It was also much cheaper, to say.
I would say, I don't know if it was cheaper because the cost of living it's still relevant to today's versus that time. But that's not the point. The point is, today, somebody who living in India, in a rural part of India, he can still go online
Yeah.
and can see exactly where he's going to go,
Yeah.
what is going to happen,
Absolutely.
and how he's going to make his dots connected.
Absolutely. Yes.
When 25 years ago,
You didn't have any.
I didn't have any of those. I didn't have any of those things.
Yeah.
And I'm sure other people were also in similar to my side of the
So
story.
internet has definitely eased the
Eased
lives,
a lot,
but
yeah.
it has also eased the lives of all the other applicants that are applying to you. So you
Yes.
are basically increasing the competition.
It is.
Yeah,
It
so-
is. And when I did my MBA,
Mhm.
so I was also working very closely with the dean. And one of my job was to filter the applications for MBAs students who are applying
Okay.
from all over the world. So we transitioned from envelopes. This is the 99. So we transitioned from envelopes to internet. So I would go every day, look it online, filter it, pull it out. So I was like, I wish I had this kind of a thing. I didn't
Yeah.
have to wait. I would get an email. It's like, I remember when I was in Australia, when I applied, I had to mail it. I mail it and I would wait.
Yeah.
And then letter would come after 2 months and
Yeah.
say that, okay, you have been selected. And they will
Yeah.
give you this brochure.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to come back to our medical part, right? So you went to China,
Yep.
did your 7 years of graduation,
5.5.
Five and a half.
5.5.
and then you come back to India. You
Right.
practice this for 7 years.
You take a test.
You take a test and you
take a test.
practice
Yeah, 7 to 8 years.
7 to 8 years,
Even more than that. you
more
know.
than that,
Yeah.
and then you come to United States, and in
Always wanted
between,
to come here.
and in between you came in tourist visa and you apply for an MLE and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
I did my exams over.
Exam.
You come and do that.
You can come
Yeah.
to-
I came twice actually to America before.
Twice, right?
Once I was in Minnesota, and the other time Minnesota because my friend was over there.
Okay.
He has a home over there, and he's
Yeah.
he's a very well known hospitalist
Yeah.
over there. And there is the second time I came to New York because
Yeah.
I always saw the New York and
Of
Times
course.
Square. You
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get
Of course,
you,
yeah.
you see all those images, and I wanted to come here and did my rotations in Brooklyn.
Yeah, and then you go and then you come back, do your 2 years graduation, and you applies for your residency,
Mhm.
and then you get the residency. This is very inspiring, Gagan. I think
Thank you.
what I feel like somebody like you, who never gave up, who never took a traditional path, and I'm sure a lot of people want to come here. But I was reading a stat.
Yeah.
Actually, I thought that most of the people want to come to United States for their medicine.
Mhm.
But I found that the number of students who come for a medicine is comparatively low than they go to another country. And I'm assuming now because of the cost, the timing, and so
cost.
forth. But the reap is too, like, you can literally get a good out of this, right? Once
You can definitely get a good out of this, but then again, there's a lot of uncertainty, and
Of course.
I had to work 8 years because I wanted to fund my exams and my pathway. Because coming
Wow.
here to US, you gotta pay at least $2,000 round trip flight.
Of course.
You gotta live here. You're not earning over here. You're on a tourist visa. You can only do externships. You're not going to work over here.
Right.
That's
Right.
against the law of tourist visa. So
Right.
what you do is you bring money from home,
Wow.
whatever you saved in India, you bring it from home, and then you somehow try to get through, 4 or 5 months. It's I think you can stay here for 4 or 5 months, 6 months in tourism, but you only stay for 4 months, and somehow you try to make and get way. I remember, and Lucky Paj, I'm sharing this with you. There was a Gurdwara, a Sikh temple where I used to live in New Jersey. I didn't have enough money. I didn't have time to cook either. I went to Gurdwara. I used to do seva, volunteer work over there, and I would also have sometimes langar over there. This is and it was so amazing, like that Gurdwara helped me to get by those 4 months because New York was so expensive.
So that makes it two of us. I have a
Yeah.
similar thing. When I was in Sydney, Australia, there was I used to live in Kingsford, which is close to Sydney downtown, and there was a Gurdwara 1 hour train ride.
Mhm.
I used to go every Sunday to Gurdwara, work do the
Volunteer,
seva,
yeah,
volunteer,
seva,
whatever,
yeah.
and then I would bring like a stack of prashadas,
Yeah.
rotis, and the vegetables that would last me for 3 to 4 days.
3 to 4 days. Yeah.
So I have done this, so I know
Yeah.
it. And then I think, but they, that's is an amazing story, right? So it's very inspiring to see, Gagan, that
And it's not. I'll just try to interject. It's not only me. It's all the students that have been
All
helped by
are.
the Gurdwara. And it was so. It was so endearing to see that Gurdwara has supported. Even the Gurdwara, I remember in Connecticut, has opened a pantry for the students over there.
Food pantry.
Hampden, yeah.
Yeah, so
So,
I'm actually,
I was
mean,
so proud of my religion. Like, oh wow, outside the country, they do it inside the country. We know all that, right?
Yeah,
They give
yeah.
you 24 hours food, free
so
food
that's a
service.
very interesting
Yeah.
point you brought up, because I'm actually a part of that initiative.
Hampden.
Yeah. I am doing whatever way I can support
Yeah.
to that food pantry, and that has come to a very good outcome.
Mhm.
It's also, we are floating an idea where
Mm-hmm.
we can also put a practice like once a week or maybe once a month,
Yeah.
having a doctors
Mhm.
who would want to provide their services
Medical
for
camp?
people, medical camp or so.
Like, yeah, okay.
Like, so we are working through. So maybe if I may ask, the question is like, what is next, and how would you, since I keep hearing from you that this country has given you so much, how would you see yourself? Of course, you have a very bright future after all this, but how do you see yourself in another 10 years? How would you like to? How would you like to give back to the society, and how would you like to give back to the community and the country that has given you so much? Is that something, like you were talking about the camp, right? Would you be open to that kind of initiatives? And
Absolutely. And I know NGO that does this. They do medical camps in India. They do medical camps in USA, and they even have medical camps in Canada. Like, this is a NGO that does all this, and there are people who need medical help, who need some kind of medical advice, and I mean, this is one way to do it too. Coming back to your question, I think I remember saying in the interview to my program director, I said, if this community trains me, I'm gonna serve this community. So it is Montgomery community now. I'm going to be serving people of Montgomery, and I want to serve them.
nice.
Yeah, I'll work there after my residency training. I'll work there, and I'll try to do as much as I can, give back to the society, because this society has given me so much. This is how it is. You can always make money, but the satisfaction, the inner satisfaction comes from helping
Helping and
giving back, because
know-
you got it.
Gagan, I would like to continue to have this discussion, but I feel like we can go forever.
Yep.
But with the timing, I think we'll just pause here.
Okay.
But one thing I will definitely, take away from this conversation is that, and this is how I have perceived in our conversation, that you have been able to do what you have been able to do. Because of course your hard work, passion, and not giving ability, but it's also about giving, that ability of thanking and giving, the
Yes.
gratifications
Absolutely.
and gratitude. I think that is what is taking you to where it is you are, and I hope and I wish you all the best for your new job in Alabama.
Thank you.
And I hope one of these days, if we continue, if my Lucky story continues to grow.
Mhm.
And as you grow, maybe when
Maybe
you're
we can
back,
meet.
we can
Yes,
again
yes,
and share
absolutely.
the
Thank you.
stories about your
Yes,
community service.
absolutely, absolutely, Baji,
Thank
absolutely.
you. Anything you would like to share before we close it?
Well, thank you for inviting me. First of all, giving me a platform to, speak about my experiences and my story. And yeah, it's coming back to giving. Yeah, I think Sikhism also teaches us to give, and why not? We'll continue the tradition.
God
And
bless you, my
hopefully I
friend.
come back and we do this podcast again.
God bless you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.